Today, I welcome you in our behalf of Bhuvneshwar Vidyalaya in your online classes. Welcome back, students. Today, we are going to start a new chapter, and the name of chapter, the National Movements 1919 to 1947. In previous chapter, we are discussed about the movement that occurs on 1985 to 1918. So, after this, there are so many struggles happen in our country, and after these struggles, our India got independence, and this movement, these struggles are very much important for our country, because by these movements, by these struggles, we get the independence, and it is very precious for us. So many people sacrifices their life for giving us the independence. So it's an important chapter of our history. So in this chapter, we are discuss about the 1919 to 1947 movements. In 1947, we got independence and our India become independent. And for this, how many leaders sacrifices their life, how many leaders involved in it, we are discussing all the things in this chapter. And in this chapter, Gandhian era was started, and Gandhiji was the father of our nation. So there is a significant role of the Gandhiji in our Indian history. So now we start our chapter with the emergence of Gandhiji. Chapter number 11, second part, the National Movement 1919 to 1947. Before we start the chapter, we start the important terms. First important term, annul. To abolish, to cancel something, that is called annul. Daredevil's reckless attitude, the attitude where we are not bothered about anything, that is called reckless attitude. Next is incarceration. Incarceration means imprisonment. Yoke, burden, slavery. Now, messianic, inspired by hope or belief in a messianic or the liberator of the observed. The person who are observed by something that have been given the hope, that person, that is called the messianic. Now we start our chapter with the emergence of Gandhiji. First of all, the emergence, we discuss about the emergence of Gandhiji in our Indian freedom. We discuss about the role of Gandhiji, the name of Gandhiji, and the little bit introduction about the Gandhiji. First of all, we started with the name of Gandhiji, and the full name of Gandhiji, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, was born on 2nd October 1869. So the full name of Gandhiji, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, and he was born in 2nd October 1869 at Porbandar in Gujarat. The birthplace of the Gandhiji is Porbandar in Gujarat, and the birth date 2nd October. And the full name of Gandhiji, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. He obtained his law degree from the England, and later he went to South Africa for the legal assessment. Mean the Gandhiji start the law degree. He do the done the LLB from England, and then he was for the legal assessment. He goes to South Africa. He was shocked to seeing the degrading condition of the Indians in South Africa. The people were helpless, unable to defend themselves, because the Indians, those who lived in South Africa that time, the South African people, they are not cooperate with them. They are not giving the any dignity, any privileges, any preference to Indians. So, seeing this condition, Gandhiji was very shocked. This led the Gandhiji to form the National Indian Congress. For seeing the degrading condition of the Indians, Gandhiji started the National Indian Congress in South Africa. He launched a Satyagraha campaign on a large scale. Firstly, we start the Satyagraha campaigning. For that, we have to understand what is the meaning of Satyagraha. Satya means truth and Agraha means effort to or force. So the Satya truth and the doing the effort for the truth is called the Satyagraha, and those who are doing the Satyagraha, they took part in Satyagraha, that persons we call Satyagrahi. So, the path of the Satyagrahi persons are truthful and non-violent. They are not doing any kind of violence in their work. They are doing they done the struggle, but in a truthful manner and non-violence. So, this is called the Satyagraha. After the South African Satyagraha, Gandhiji, when they are giving the right to the Indians for our society. After that, he returned to India 1950. Gandhiji was determined to use the Satyagraha against the British Raj. Gandhiji, when he returned to India, he started the Satyagraha weapon against the British Raj. He traveled Champaran in Bihar 1960. In 1960, Gandhiji went to Champaran and inspired the peasants, those who are very much oppressed from the plantation system of the British government. So Gandhiji inspired that peasants to do struggle, to do satyagraha against this plantation system. He then organized a satyagraha to support the peasants of the Kheda district in Gujarat. That is the second satyagraha in India. Okay, after that, in the same way, Gandhiji again organize one more satyagraha, that is in Ahmedabad, Gujarat, 1918, among the cotton mill workers. They doing the satyagraha for the cotton mill worker in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. Like this, Gandhiji done three satyagraha after returning from the South Africa. Mahatma Gandhi successfully organized the satyagraha movement at the various places in India. But this is not a part of the Gandhian era. This is the satyagraha that Gandhiji inspired the people to doing the satyagraha. That time Gandhiji was not taking the part actively in this satyagraha. But there is one satyagraha that changed the era of our Indian independence, and the Gandhian era was started by the Rowlatt Satyagraha. The Rowlatt Act brought Mahatma Gandhi to mainstream of the Indian politics. Henceforth began the national movement in which Gandhiji participated actively. Rowlatt Act is an act that gives the chance Gandhiji to take part in Indian politics, and in this satyagraha Gandhiji take part very actively, and the Gandhian era started in Indian politics. Now we are discussing about the Rowlatt Satyagraha. We have to know, to understand what is the Rowlatt Act and what is Rowlatt Satyagraha. For this we are discussing about that event that happened in 1919. The British government passed the infamous Rowlatt Act. Infamous Rowlatt Act. Why we call this Rowlatt Act infamous? Because it is not famous in Indians. Indians doesn't like this Rowlatt Act. So we name this act as a infamous act, which gave the numerous power to the police to arrest any person without assigning any reason whatsoever. So, in Rowlatt Satyagraha, British government gave the power to the police to arrest the persons without any reason, without any cautioning. They just arrest the person and took into the imprisonment. So, that is an act of Rowlatt Act. But this is not fair. Without any reason, if you send the person jail, that is injustice. So nobody like this. Why the British do this? The purpose of the act was to curb the growing nationalist upsurge in the country. The nationalist feeling that arose in the Indian peoples, they want to curb that feeling. That's why they organized this Rowlatt Act. Gandhiji called upon the people to do satyagraha against such as oppressive act. So by seeing this act, Gandhiji was tell the people, Gandhiji called the people for the satyagraha against this act. So after this act, Gandhiji started the satyagraha in Indian politics. Now we start our next topic, that is the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. The Rowlatt Satyagraha turned out to be the first all-Indian struggle against the British government. Now, when the Rowlatt Satyagraha was occur, it is organized the Indian people, all India was together against the British government. The month of March 1919 witnesses a remarkable political awakening in India, and we're talking about the March month 1919. The month of March in 1919 was a remarkable political awakening in Indian history. There were hartals, strikes, demonstration everywhere. The entire country was excited. Why they are excited? Because they all want the free nation and they all want to their country, their Swaraj. The British government was equally determined to suppress the mass ignition. People was awake, Indian people was awake, but right now the British was also alert. They want to suppress all the ignition against them. It rapidly lathi charged unarmed demonstrators and even fired at them. What British wants to suppress the movement, so they are doing the lathi charge. They are doing the then the fired on the peoples that are not any weapons anything. They are unarmed means जो निहत्थी जनता थी उसके ऊपर फायर करा रही थी गवर्नमेंट बिकॉज क्योंकि नेशनलिस्ट जो मूवमेंट थी वो उसको स्टॉप करना चाहते थे जो फीलिंग थी उसको दबाना चाहते थे Mahatma Gandhi gave a call for a large hartal on 6 April 1919. Was seeing this when the Gandhiji observed these kind of things, they called the people for hartal on 6 April 1919. He asked the people to hold the public meeting against this Black Act because this act was called the Black Act because the firing was there unarmed निहत्थे लोगों को जो गोली मारी जा रही थी लाठी चार्ज किया जा रहा था ये एक ब्लैक एक्ट था इसके रिगार्डिंग गांधी जी wants told the people to do meeting against this black act. He also made an appeal to observe the hartal for a day. They request the people to do the hartal on a day. The reopens to Gandhi's call was remarkable, and this is the reopen of Gandhiji, and this call was remarkable in the Indian history. Amritsar had observed a peaceful hartal on April 6. Gandhiji called for a hartal, so in a peaceful hartal happened in Amritsar on 6 April. But the arrest of two leaders, there is a two leaders that is doing the struggle for Indian independence. The leader's name was Dr. Sakuddin Tichkuram and Dr. Satyapal. The both leaders in Amritsar on 10th April led to the mass ignition. They was arrested. They are doing the ignition and they are doing the mass ignition on Amritsar. So the British government arrest these both leaders. On 13 April 1919, a public meeting took place at the Jallianwala Bagh in Amritsar to protest against the arrest of these leaders. These leaders are the leader of the Amritsar, and the people of Amritsar took the meeting on Jallianwala Bagh, a place in Amritsar where they doing the meeting against the protest of these two leaders. The General Dyer, the military commander of Amritsar. That time, the General Dyer was the military commander of Amritsar. He blocked the only narrow exit and without any warning opened fire upon the peaceful crowd and continued firing on them until all his ammunition was exhausted. And what the जनरल डायर डू उन्होंने वहां का जो नैरो जो एक गेट था उसको ब्लॉक कर दिया जलियांवाला बाग का एंड ही स्टार्ट ओपन फायर द पीसफुल क्राउड, द क्राउड वॉज वेरी पीसफुल, वो शांति से वहां लोग इकट्ठा थे। उस पे उन्होंने, जो जनता वहां इकट्ठा थी, उस पे ओपन फायरिंग करा दी और वो तब तक फायर करते रहे जब तक उनकी जो एम्बिशन, जो एज्यूम्शन थी उस वो एग्जॉस्टेड ना हो गई, जब तक उनकी जो एम्बिशन थी वो फुलफिल नहीं हो गई, तब तक वो भीड़ को गोलियां बरसाते रहे उस भीड़ पे। After this, martial law was proclaimed throughout the Punjab and people were subjected to most uncivilized autocratics। और ये जो एक्ट देखा तो वहाँ के जो लोग थे पंजाब के, वो इस चीज को देख के, इस अनसिविलाइज जो एक्ट हुआ उसको देख के वो लोग भी चुप रह गए, क्योंकि ये जो एक्ट था, इसी दिन को जलियांवाला बाग अमृतसर जो मैसर हुआ था, इस दिन को इंडियन हिस्ट्री में ब्लैक डे के नाम से भी जाना जाता है, क्योंकि इसमें जो निहत्थी जनता थी उस पे ओपन फायरिंग कराई गई थी और ना उनके पास कोई हथियार थी ना कुछ था, तब भी उनको बहुत सारे लोग इसमें मारे गए। इसलिए इस जलियांवाला बाग जो मैसर है, इसको ब्लैक डे कहा जाता है 13 अप्रैल 1919 को इंडियन हिस्ट्री में। After this act, what happened? The people of the country was a wave of horror ran throughout the country as the news of such brutality spread. The wave of horror means पूरी कंट्री में एक डर का माहौल जो था वो पूरी कंट्री में फैल गया था। जो क्रूएल एक्ट जो ब्रिटिश ने किया था उसको देख के सब लोगों के अंदर एक दहशत फैल गई थी। Rabindranath Tagore expressed the pain and anger of the country by renouncing his knighthood. What the title of the sir was given to the Rabindranath Tagore by the British government. Rabindranath Tagore, when he observed this kind of act of British, they rejected. They are not accepted. He was not accepted his title. He rejected this title given by the British government. Mahatma Gandhi's faith in the British sense of justice and fair play was completely shaken, and when Mahatma Gandhi see this kind of act of the British, the sense and the faith of the Gandhiji have a faith on the British government that they say their justice and their fair play, they understand the feeling of the Indians and they do the justice with us. That is was shaken by seeing this black day. By seeing the Jallianwala Bagh massacre, Gandhi ji was completely shaken. वो पूरी तरह से शॉक में आ गए, वो पूरी तरह से हिल गए ये देख के, जब उन्होंने जलियांवाला बाग मैसर वाला जो देखा, उन्होंने जो जलियांवाला बाग हत्याकांड जब देखा तो वो पूरी तरह से शेक हो गए थे और उनका जो फेथ था ब्रिटिश पे वो पूरी तरह से हिल गया। So this is the story of Jallianwala Bagh massacre. The Khilafat and non-corporation movement. The Sultan of Turkey was regarded as a Khalifa or the religious head of the Muslim. In that time, the Turkish Sultan was called the Khalifa, all over the world, Muslims Khalifa. After the World War I started on 1914 and ended in 1918. The Sultan lost all the territories which were inhabited by the non-Turks, means the territories that is inhabited by the Sultan, they lost all the territories. He was deprived from the real authority even over those territories which were left under his control. The territories which have control of the Khalifa, they deprived from that authority also. He lost all the controls of the territories that he had. This angered the Muslim in India. All the Indian Muslim was very much angered by seeing this kind of act of the British. The Khilafat Committee was formed under the leadership of Maulana Shaukat Ali and Muhammad Ali. The popularly known as Ali brothers, they both are called the Ali brothers, and they formed the Khilafat Committee for the cruel act of the British against them. They can make a committee that is called the Khilafat Committee. Maulana Azad, Hakim Afzal Khan and Hazrat Moin, they are also the part of this committee. The Khilafat Committee adopted a policy of non-cooperation with the British government. They are not cooperated. They don't want to cooperate with the British government. So they commit a committee for this, and the name of the committee is Khilafat Committee. Mahatma Gandhi was sympathetic to their causes, and Mahatma Gandhi was very much sympathy with the Muslims. So he considered the British Act as a breach of trust against the Muslim. So they want the trust of Muslims for the Hindus, so they see the opportunity. It is an opportunity for the Mahatma Gandhi to be united the Hindu and Muslim. At the same time, he saw the Khilafat ignition. The Khilafat ignition was there. It is a golden opportunity for the Gandhiji to united the Hindu and Muslims, and the masses movement into the national movement was the Hindu Muslim bring together, and they are doing the national movement, masses national movement by this Khilafat Committee. For the success of Khilafat movement and support of Congress was essential. Gandhiji know for the Khilafat movement, the support of the Gandhiji and the Congress was very essential for the success of this Khilafat movement. So the resolution of the non-cooperation movement was accepted at the Nagpur session of the Congress in December 1920. There is one session there, the non-cooperation movement was accepted by the Congress also. So in this time, Hindu and Muslim was together, and the mass ignition was held, and the name of ignition was Khilafat Andolan. The program of non-cooperation movement, there is some programs they are decided for the non-cooperation movement. That program is the non-cooperation movement launched by Gandhiji had two kinds of program. They are divided the programs in two kinds. First the positive, and second one is negative program. Firstly, we are discuss about the positive program. Which kind of positive program is there? Hindu-Muslim unity. The first positive point of this program is the Hindu and Muslim was now became united. The removal of the untouchability. The untouchability is offense in our society. Constitution considered this offense, but that time Constitution was not there, or untouchability was very much prevalent that time. So they by this movement the untouchability was removed. The promotion of the Swadeshi good, one benefit is also we use the Swadeshi goods, and especially the homespun and the woven clothes. The clothes we are using that time, it is a British government provide the clothes that time, and very cheap that time. So people of India using that clothes, that articles in their home. But by this movement, they all are supported the Swadeshi clothes and Swadeshi things. The prohibition of the intoxicating drinks, the drinks that brings from the British countries, these was prohibited that time. The negative. Now we are coming to negative aspect of the program refers to. But what is the negative impact in that program is the boycott of the legislative councils. All the Indians boycott the legislative councils, and the boycott of the law court by the lawyers, the boycott of the government schools and colleges, the boycott of the British good, and surrender the title and honorary post. The honorary post given by the British, the titles that is given by the British, all the titles, all the honorary posts was surrendered that by this movement. In this movement, the people of India was surrender all the things and boycott all the British things, so that they can part in this Khilafat Andolan. For a year or two, the non-cooperation movement continued fearlessly and throughout the country. Throughout the country, the non-cooperation was continued toward 1 or 2 years. But in February 1922, the mob set fire in the police station in Chorachori, Uttar Pradesh, in which 22 policemen died. Gandhiji was greatly shocked at such a turn of events. Now he felt the movement was become disorganized and unruly. Thus, he suspended the movement, and biggest achievement of the movement was that it could mobilize the masses in the national movement for the first time. This Khilafat Andolan make the India mobilize and the Indian masses take part in the national movement. All the Muslim, all the Hindus actively take part in this Khilafat Andolan. So it is a successful movement for Indians. Now, after the Khilafat movement, we are going to our next movement, and that is the Swaraj Party. The Swaraj Party, once the non-corporation movement was over, now the non-corporation movement was over, Gandhiji suspended this movement, and the Congress involved itself in constructive work in villages. Now they want to do the work for the villages. Congressmen led by the C.R. Das and Motilal Nehru were of the view that legislature should no longer be boycotted. C.R. Das and Motilal Nehru thought that the boycott of legislature post is not longer be existed. We have to adopt this post because they want to make attention, they want to draw attention of the government for the workers, those who are doing the work in mills, in peasant work. So they want to attract the government in this condition of these peoples. So they establish a Swaraj Party within the Congress. When in the Congress was established, and by next hand the Swaraj Party was also established. C.R. Das was its president and Motilal Nehru its secretary. The president of the Swaraj Party was C.R. Das, and Motilal Nehru was the secretary of the Swaraj Party. Swaraj Party other prominent leader were, after this there are some other leaders, that is Vittal Bhai Patel, Hakim Azmal Khan. They are also the leader of the Swaraj Party. In the election of 1923, then Swaraj Party take part in the election. Now in 1923, the Swaraj Party scored a considerable number of the seats in provisional and central legislature. In central legislature and provisional legislature, Swaraj Party get the considerable seats, means they win the election when they take part in the legislature, center and provision. They were able to draw attention the government to some vital problems such as the improvement condition of the workers, and by creating the Swaraj Party, they drawn the attention of the government for the position of the workers. They want to improve the position of the worker. That's why this Swaraj Party was created, and after winning of Swaraj Party, they are able to draw the attention of the government for the condition of the workers. Now, after the Swaraj Party, one more event has happened, that is the Simon Commission. If we're talking about the Simon Commission, in 1927, the British government appointed the Simon Commission to look into the working of the reforms introduced by the Act of 1919 to suggest the reform for the future, for the betterment of the future of Indians, and for the reform of the Indians. In 1919 reforms, they want to reform the Indians in 1927, and they create the Simon Commission for that. But there is one problem in that commission. The Congress protested against this commission. Why Congress was against this commission? The commission was created for the Indians' future. So Congress was protested against this commission. So why they against this commission? Because all its members were British. The commission was created for our reforms, for our future, but no Indian was in that commission. All the British members was in that commission. All the those who are the member of the commission, they all are British. Then how they solve our problems, how they understand our condition if they are not Indians? This commission landed in Bombay on 3rd February 1928. They coming from England in 3rd February 1928. Wherever the commission went, it was boycotted with the black flag. When the commission went to any places in India, they are visiting the different places, but nobody welcomed this commission. They just boycott this commission by showing the black flag, and they gave the slogan for that commission, Simon go back, because in this commission no Indian was there. Then how they improve, how they reform the Indians. So Congress was boycotted this commission by saying that Simon go back. The Declaration of Swaraj. The Congress declared complete or Purna Swaraj at its goal in its annual session at Lahore on 31st December 1929 under the presidency of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. There is one session that held on 31st December 1929, and the president of this session, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, and the session held on Lahore. In this session, they want the Purna Swaraj. In this annual session, they declare that they want the complete Purna Swaraj, and constantly 26 January was decided to be observed as Independence Day all over the country. And this session they decided that the 26th January was the Independence Day for our country. That day they decided the date of this session, but it is not fulfilled. You all are know we got independence on 1947. So, but our Congress tried to Poon Swaraj. They tried the Poon Swaraj and Poon independence on 1929, 26 January, but their wishes were not fulfilled. After the declaration of Swaraj on 31st December 1929, our Congress tried to get the independence, but then time was not there. Then we got the independence in 1947. So the next movement that occurs after this, we are discuss these movements in the next clipping. Till then, goodbye and have a nice day.